Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to another video. This video is my 2017 gear bag video. I know I'm a little late to the party, but I'm just glad I'm able to film it and get it out for you guys. So sit right back and enjoy the video, and I hope you find it informative. Alright, so first things first, let's start out with the bag, or in my case, bags. One of the things that you'll notice in comparison to my previous gear bag video, I don't have the one big gear bag anymore. I decided to sell it this past year because it just wasn't fitting my needs. I don't really carry too much to the field, so for me to bring that big bag, it was just too excessive for me. So I was just basically using a backpack to bring to the field, and that's all I needed. And what I basically used that gear bag for was just to store and hold my gear at home. So I didn't really need an exclusive paintball bag to just store my stuff. So that's one of the reasons why I sold that gear bag and settled for a regular bag or container for my stuff. So as I was thinking about making this video, I didn't want to just make it a video of showing you my stuff where a lot of people wouldn't really get much out of it. So what I wanted to do is couple that with some of my opinions so that hopefully you guys out there who are considering getting stuff or looking at things might get a better idea on what would fit you so that you could get it. Okay, so without further ado, let's start off with the soft goods. Now, as far as the soft goods, many of them are still the same as last year, mainly because they've lasted. They last, and I don't really need to spend more money to replace them. So many of you will probably remember this. These are my slide shorts from Eclipse. I've had this for more than a year now, and it's still holding up very strong. The padding is pretty thick. It's starting to lose some elasticity, but it still holds up really well. So I'm going to keep this for a little bit while longer. I still have my knee pads, which I regularly wear for rec ball and speedball because I want to protect my knees. Let's see. As far as my jersey, you might recognize this again. I have the Eclipse Warped Sports jersey with light padding on the shoulder and the forearms. I noticed that the padding is fraying a little bit on the forearms, but it still has plenty of life left, and we'll be rocking it at the field for some time to come. Now, I do have another jersey, and this is for warmer weather. This is an older MacDive jersey. Now, this was not padded, and it was actually long sleeves, but what I wanted to do was to tailor it for warmer weather, so I cut the sleeves off. So I have this jersey, which I'll be using during the summer. As far as pants, one of them is an old school, or I should say older, Eclipse pants. I really like these pants, and the reason I got these pants was this pair was one of the rare pairs that actually had pod loops. So this was one of the deciding factors for me to try and get these pants for when I'm playing pump or mech, and I didn't want to wear a pod pack, so I could just use it over here. Now, I've used it a couple of times, which is really good. The only thing is, for me, when I do play at the field and I reload, I like to keep the pods with me, only because I don't want to have to go back or forget about the pods. So with these, I can't really fit them back in during the middle of the game, so I just have to try and remember to go back so that I don't lose my pods. Alright, now, another thing are my arm pads. I don't really use it too much when I wear the padded jersey, only because I don't think I need it. I mean, there's plenty of padding here. So now that it's going to be a little bit hotter with the short sleeve jersey, I'll be using these just to protect my arms from additional scars. As far as the other soft gear, I have my Eclipse fingerless gloves, which I'm still using. I've used it many times, and still, like the other gear, still has plenty of life left. I have some headbands from Dye and this. One thing I just realized is I don't have the regular, or the two regular beanies that I do wear. I try to couple them up just to protect my forehead and head from headshots, obviously. But what I did get recently is one of these face shields. I'm not sure if you're too familiar with them, but these will protect my forehead, or I mean, you can configure it to whatever you want. What you want it to be, a head wrap, or just a headband, or a neck wrap. And it's lightweight and very breathable. So for the warmer weather, I think I'm going to be using these more than the regular beanie or regular head wrap. And of course, my barrel bag. Can't have too many of those. I only brought one for this video. I have 2 or 3 stored away in my backpack or at home. Okay, so now on to the other goods. I still have my Dye harness. Still holding up strong. I've had this for over a year as well. Velcro is starting to get a little light, but still holds the pack securely. As far as my pods, my Proto Alpha pods that I got for free during the promotion of getting this pack, also still holding strong. I like these pods because these hold more than the typical pod, a little bit stronger. After all this time, I've only had one crack. I think after taking a shot directly to the pod from close range. But other than that, they're still holding up very strong. And like I said before, hold more than the typical pod. And they've never really opened up. They still open up very nicely, quickly. You get a nice little click in there. So I still have that. I still have my caddy. It just makes it so much easier to reload your pods. Now what I did was, while you're thinking about the original cap, I didn't lose it, but I decided to try and see if I can use the top of one of those standard pods on it. Only because when I do refill the harness, sometimes I put it on the table and I forget it. I figured if I use it this way, all I have to do is open it up, refill, and close it. I don't really have to worry about losing it. This one, I have to worry about a little bit more. Okay, as far as my tank, I still have my small tank. I'm still using this tank because the field that I usually go to, which is Long Live Paintball, the field station is very close to the staging area and very close to the field, so I don't really have to worry about losing or running out of air. I mean, after 2, sometimes 3 or 4 games, we go to the staging area and refill right then and there. If I was at a field that had a staging or the fill area far away, then I would consider getting a bigger tank. But for my purposes, this is just fine for me. As far as the output pressure, I set it to about 550 psi. As far as the hopper, I am still using the Virtue Spire, the original Spire. I've had no problems with this. I've been tempted to try and get the new rotor or the new Spire, but this has not given me any problems, so I haven't really been actively searching for really good deals on those other hoppers. Hopefully in the future, I'll be able to find a really good deal that I just can't pass up, so it will allow me to like test it out. I'm pretty sure they're very good ones. As far as the difference between this one and that one, yes, there's going to be some differences, but not enough for me to justify getting rid of this one just to get that one. So this is what I'll be using for this year. So lately in this video, you're probably seeing a lot of the old gear that I've just mentioned. It wasn't until I'm preparing for this video that I realized that I changed quite a few times during this past year in terms of barrels. You've seen this in my previous video, which I still like using from time to time. This is my disruptive set that I use. I find them to be very quiet, easy to clean, and I couldn't pass up the deal on these. But lately I've been trying to experiment with the Freak system, the original Freak system. I don't have the XL system, but just basically using the Freak system in different types of barrels. So here are some of them. I have the Dye UL that is Freak board. The reason I got it Freak board was when I got it in a gear bag, they had some pretty significant nicks on the inside of the bore. I don't think I would have liked to, or I think it would have been detrimental for me to use it as is, and I just couldn't resell it, and I didn't want to just throw it away. So you know what, I just took it as the perfect opportunity to get it bored and be able to use the Freak system with the Dye UL. However, I did recently pick up another Freak back. This one is from Master Scony from eBay and also from PB Nation. What he does is he makes his own barrel backs, which is compatible with the Freak system as well as die tips. One thing that really that made me consider buying it is that it is 1 inch shorter than the Dye UL, which is pretty appealing to me, and I'll explain why. I think you can see it right there. Now, as you may or may not know, one of the reasons that makes a barrel quieter is the porting. The more the porting, the quieter the barrel is. Which is one of the reasons why I like to use the 16-inch, because it's a little bit quieter. The downside is it's a little bit longer than the favored length. Now, with this one, with a shorter back, this is essentially going to make the 16-inch overall length to a 15, which I'm used to using a 15 from many times before. So I'm looking forward to using this Scony back with a 16-inch and enjoying the benefits of more porting. And the reason I said that I'm pretty familiar or pretty comfortable with using a 15-inch is because I also have a Lucky 15 barrel. I mean, I only have this one, which is only a 685. So sometimes when I'm using an Electro, I'll just use a 685, 686. I don't need to go any lower. I find the 685 to be a multi-purpose bore, and I've had no problems with brakes or anything like that. Now, as far as the inserts, that I still have. I have them all right here. So from time to time, I'll just use the UL or the other Eclipse Solo barrel that's also Freak board. I don't have it here for some reason. I think I left it. Well, I did leave it, obviously. So that's what I've been using or trying to play around for the past year, and we'll be playing around with different combinations this coming year. Next up is the mask. I am still rocking the i4s. I have no complaints about it. I still love using it. I was very tempted in using the i5, especially with the bigger mask, more protection on my chin and the jaw. However, I still wasn't sure if I was going to like the integrated mount on the i4. I don't know if I could really use their mount with my camera mount that I can easily switch back and forth without it making it a little bit more permanent. So that's one of the reasons why I haven't really tried out the i5 yet, and I'm still rocking the i4, only because the seamless, the transition between both sides and taking it out on the field is a great deal for me, and for me to sacrifice that, it's something I'm really going to have to think about. So now, while we're on the subject of masks and camera, nice little segue. Let's talk about the camera. I still have my Drift Stealth 2 that I used, that I put on my mask. Notice that it has a rubber band around it. The reason why I have it is because it started, the casing itself started to come loose. The lens have held up really well. I've taken a few shots to the lens, never really had to replace it. However, after a couple of drops, I did notice that the casing started to separate. I think because the casing, even though it does use the standard screws, the posts, however, are plastic. And over time, with some abuse or dropping it here and there, which happened to me, started to come apart. It still takes great video, so I still didn't want to just replace it or just buy a new one and throw this one away. So for the time being, I'm still going to use this camera and just basically use a rubber band around it. The only thing I started noticing is it's starting to muffle the sound a little bit, so I'm going to have to try and see where it's blocking the sound and hopefully remedy that situation. Now, I do have another camera, which you probably already noticed in my most previous videos, that I'm taking a little bit more, or I'm trying to edit my videos and taking advantage of the slow motion, and that is partly due, or mainly due, to this new barrel camera, and this is the GoPro Hero 5. I wanted to supplement the videos with more slow motion, a little bit more close-up, and I was looking at many different cameras. So mainly I was looking for a camera that can handle maybe 60 FPS or even better 120 FPS, just for those nice slow motion hits. I didn't want it to be too big. I found this baby online with a very good deal. I'm not using the stock casing. This is a metal casing, and the reason I bought that is because it's a little bit more durable, easy to take in and out. I just take out this back and slip out the GoPro out of it. Also, if you notice on the case, there are two screws. I can easily take those two screws out, and there's a standard post inside. So depending on the mount that I wanted to use, I can either use the GoPro mount or the standard post for, that you'll find in many cameras. Speaking of posts and mounts, I have two right here that I regularly use. As far as the barrel cam, I am using the Inception Designs Apache mount. This is the GoPro mount. I've used this with my other Stealth 2, and now the GoPro 5. But since this is a GoPro mount, I don't need this additional piece. This was for the Stealth 2 that used a standard post, as you can see here. So this is the K Designs Go Big, I think, mount. I could be totally wrong about this, but as you'll notice, as you see right here, we have the GoPro mount, which I attached this way. The only reason I'm going about this and going into this in detail is because I've had a couple of questions regarding what mounts I used, so this is the perfect opportunity to take a few minutes and talk about it. And this is the standard post. So depending on if I wanted to use a standard mount or the GoPro mount, I have the flexibility in just using this, or if I wanted to use this one for, I don't know, whatever future camera I might get that doesn't utilize a GoPro mount, I still have this that I can use and still be able to mount it on my camera. So here we are. Now it's time for the highlight of mainly all of the gear bag videos out there, and it's what the person is going to be using in terms of a paintball marker this coming year. And I have them right here in front of me. But before I even go through the markers, like I've stated before in the previous videos, I like to use computer bags that you can pick up for pretty cheap from many stores, electronic stores, computer stores, for $4, $5, sometimes $8. Plenty of padding. Many of them have felt lining inside, so it does an adequate job of protecting your markers, especially when you put it in your backpack or gear bags, and you don't really have to use the stock cases that's a little bit bulkier, and especially if you're not using the stock barrels. However, before I do, I wanted to share with you something that many of you might not know is another alternative to these cases, and it's this. It's somewhat similar to the Exalt marker bags, but this is from Trade My Gun. I happened to see a post online showing that these were on sale, and last time I checked I think they're still on sale, $10. So I really wanted to check this out. It basically saves the, has the same function as this. However, for the extra $3 or extra $4, it does have an extra compartment for, I chose the wrong section, for your two-piece barrels. So we have 5 sections for your two-piece barrels, as well as these loops right here for whatever you want to put in there. It could be squeegees, swabs, microfiber, anything else that you want to do. So I just wanted to share this with you. It has a nice handle. The only thing is the outside is not felt lined like the Exalt, which is a little bit more money, but for $10 this offers sufficient padding for your marker. It still wouldn't really be throwing it around, like I said, because it's pretty thin, but for the amount of money, this is a nice alternative to many of the bags out there. Okay, now as far as the electrodes, I guess I'll start with the electrodes. Alright, I still have my MacDev clone, which I don't think I can ever give up. I enjoy using this. It's still very smooth. Still keeps up with many of the markers out there. I still really like the color scheme on it. Every time I look at it or compare it to other markers, I do like the streamline and the single tube. It's just very clean to me, and this really represents it really well. So this is my backup for the season. As far as the screen, I did have to get a replacement. This replacement screen was from Sweet Technology. I know they made a few screens about a year ago. So for people that had or were plagued with dim or dead screens from their old Tadao boards, I was one of the lucky ones to be able to get a screen from them, because I think they stopped production or they're scarce now. I don't know if they're going to make another run for screens, but I know there are a lot of people out there still looking for working screens just so they can get their Tadao boards or their guns working again, whether it be an autococker, Bob Long, or MacDev. Now, this is a recent acquisition. You've already seen this in my other videos. I have another Eclipse gun, but this one is more in the mid-range range. Okay, mid-price range, I guess. I've used it for a couple of outings now. This is just under 3 cases. I like the way it feels. You can't really complain about the Gamma Core technology. It has the OLED. It feels very nice. The only thing that I wasn't a big fan of when I got it was the trigger setup. It wasn't magnetic, it was spring. So what I decided to do was look into it, look for ideas online, and I eventually found a way to install magnets on the G-Tech. Well, for the 160R at least. I don't think it works for the original G-Tech, but I was able to put one. You'll see the picture up there in the corner on how exactly I did it. I have some hobby magnets that I picked up a little while ago. Just sufficient magnets that are small enough and still have enough repulsion to it or attraction to it, depending on the style of marker. But after I did install it, it's so much lighter and so much easier to walk it. It's very important to me because I mainly play on semi. I rarely put it on PSP or ramp. So it's very important for me to be able to walk the trigger with minimal effort. And I find, well, actually the best combination is a spring and magnet. But since this one is only magnet, I wanted to make it the best I can. Okay, so on to the next marker. The next up is in this laptop case. As you'll notice, it's a little bit bigger than the electro cases. So if you guessed mech, you're right. Right now I'm just using a laptop case only because I don't use mech too much. Hopefully I'll be using it a little bit more this coming year, so that's why I haven't really sprung for the dedicated pump and marker cases from Exalt or Inception Designs. But for now, this is what I have and we'll be sticking to it. So here is my mech that I picked up locally about a year and a half ago. This is a 2K5 Pro Stock. Basically has been same as I got it. The only things I did change were the ASA, because I do like the midline fitting as opposed to it coming to the side, although you know, with the mech shouldn't really matter too much. And I did have to replace the three-way because it was leaking from the three-way, and basically it was better off replacing. Other than that, everything is just as I got it. The RAM was already there. Yet so far I've had a lot of fun learning on it, trying to tune it. Definitely a little bit harder than building the pump in terms of not maintaining it, but just timing it. So I really look forward to using it a little bit more this year. Next up, last but not least, is my pump. And this actually has a dedicated gun bag. So this is from Eclipse. I do like that it is the perfect size for the pump or mech, and it has this pouch for inserts, which is a good thing if you're playing pump. So I need to underbore. So as far as the pump, I don't have the 6.5 anymore, but it is still CCM. This is the full block T2. As soon as I saw this, I decided to sell my 6.5 to be able to get this one. One of the reasons why, even though I really love the 6.5, I use it for a couple of outings. It shot really well, had no complaints, it was very smooth. The only thing that I was concerned about was that it was a mid-block. Originally, I was a big fan of the mid-block, and I still am kinda, but I didn't want to get a sled or a slot blocker for it. Which means that it's going to be a little bit exposed, or it's going to be a little bit exposed in the back from debris or flying paint, which could essentially affect your accuracy and consistency and your FPS out on the field. So once I saw this, especially the color scheme, I couldn't really keep my eyes off of the color scheme, so I decided to sell the 6.5 and get this instead. So it's basically the best of both worlds. It's quad rod, it's full block, so I don't really have to worry about debris getting in there or even getting a sled blocker. So I've used it about twice already, and basically the same as the 6.5. I mean, they're basically essentially the same. So hopefully I'll be using this a little bit more as well. So that's basically it for the gear bag video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you were able to take some things away from it, as opposed to just watching all the things that I'll be using. But at least if you're looking at or considering what you're going to be getting this coming year in terms of bags or packs, you were able to take something away from this video. So as always, thank you so much for watching, and see you out there at the field.